This is Audible.
Faking with Benefits. A Friends to Lovers Why Choose Romance. Written by Lily Gold. Performed by a full cast with Faye Adele as Layla,
Shane East as Luke,
Will Watts as Zach,
and John York as Josh.
Author's Note. While Faking with Benefits is overall a sweet and spicy romance, it does also touch on several sensitive themes and topics. If you'd like to know more, you can find a full list at www.lilygoldauthor.com. This book is a Why Choose romance, which means the heroine has multiple love interests. It contains graphic, steamy group scenes. Happy reading. Chapter 1. Layla. I'd really want to be married by 30, I say thoughtfully, twirling my wine glass between my fingers. I think that would give me the best shot at having children. Children? My date echoes on the other side of the restaurant table, his eyes wide. I nod, smiling at him as seductively as I can. My date tonight is a guy called Mike Stoneham. I met him on an app last night. 6'2", handsome, and he works in an animal rescue facility. Right now, he's sitting opposite me looking absolutely delicious in a fitted black suit, golden candlelight flickering all over his sculpted face. He swallows, Adam's apple bobbing. So you're thinking about kids already, Layla? I nod. I think it's important to have a life plan. I know it can become a lot more difficult to have kids after 35, so I should probably start soon. I think 3 is a good number, although I'd be happy with 2. What do you think about... I trail off as he pushes out his chair and stands. I, need to use the restroom, he mutters, not meeting my eye. Oh, okay. That's fine. I wave him off, and he turns on his heel, marching towards the bathrooms. Weird. Shrugging, I lean back in my chair, taking a deep sip of wine. I'm in the middle of my 120th date, and I'm starting to think I've finally gotten the hang of it. The night is going really well so far. Mike suggested a really fancy restaurant, a Michelin-starred spot in central London. It's very posh and expensive, all minimalist white walls covered in weird modern art and oddly shaped lampshades hanging from the ceiling. He arrived early, kissed me on the cheek when we sat down at our table, and showed me pictures of a cute dog he operated on today. He didn't even stare at my chest when I dropped my fork and bent to pick it up. I have a good feeling about him. Glancing back to the bathroom door to make sure it's still closed, I reach for my handbag, unsnapping the clasp and pulling out my date notebook. Licking my finger, I flip through the pages until I find my list of first date instructions, scanning down the first few bullet points. Make good eye contact. Ask him questions about himself. Maintain open body language. Touch his hand or arm. Compliment him. I nod, trying to memorize them. It might sound a bit over the top to carry directions on dates, but I'm notoriously terrible at dating. I'm 28 and I've never had a boyfriend, and it's not for lack of trying. I've spent the last 2 years on a mission to find a man who will put up with me. Every Friday night after work, I come home, sit on my couch with a glass of wine, and go on a marathon swiping session on my current favorite dating app. As soon as I find a guy I like, I invite him out on a date. So far, it hasn't been going so well. I think maybe I come on too strong. Most of the guys who agree to meet up with me just look kind of scared. I haven't ever gotten a second date. But tonight, I think my luck is about to change. A few minutes pass, and Mike doesn't come back. Nerves start humming in my stomach. My work phone dings 3 times in a row, probably the shipping company updating me on my deliveries. I'm due to have a bunch of new pieces shipped in today for my lingerie web store. My fingers itch to answer the messages, but I force myself not to check the screen. Every WikiHow article I've read on what not to do on the first date has been very clear that checking your phone is a big no-no. Instead, I turned to my starter. We both ordered the house special, which turned out to be a plate of miniature vegetables wrapped in gold leaf. I'm not completely sure it's actually edible. I roll a tiny beetroot over with my fork. "Mom!" I look up and smile at the waiter hovering nervously over me. "Hi," I tell him. "Everything's fine, thanks." The waiter clears his throat. "I'm, not sure how to tell you this, Mom, but we just saw your date leave." "Leave?" I frown. "But he hasn't even eaten yet. Maybe he just went outside to take a call, or something." The waiter grimaces. "We found him, climbing out of the window in the men's bathroom, so I don't think he plans on coming back." My mouth falls open. "Excuse me?" "He paid the bill," he says brightly, offering me the receipt. I stare at it. Somehow, that's even worse. At least if he hadn't paid, I could convince myself that he just came here for a free meal. Now I know that the problem is me. I stare at his plate. His stupid, gold-plated carrots sparkle back at me. "Right," I say softly. "Okay." The waiter winces. Do you want me to pack up your meal? I'll throw in a dessert on the house." Part of me wants to say no. I'm embarrassed as hell, but I don't want to leave. I came here to eat dinner. I'm not going to run away just because my date went bad, for God's sake. I've got more backbone than that. I think. Maybe not. Luckily, before I have to make a decision, I'm interrupted. "There's no need for that," a thick northern accent says over my head. I blink as the chair opposite me is dragged out with an ear-piercing squeak, and my neighbour Zach heaves his massive, muscled body into Mike's empty seat. "Here, gorgeous," he says cheerfully, leaning over the table. I jump when he brushes his lips across my cheek, my lungs filling with his warm honey and whiskey smell. "Sorry I peed for so long." He sits back in his chair and grins at me. "Right, back to the date. Where were we?" Chapter 2. I stare at Zach. He just winks back at me, his bright blue eyes twinkling. Zach Harding, player nickname Zach Hardon, is a 30-year-old ex-rugby player, but he looks more like a Viking. Massive arms, blonde hair usually pulled back into a man bun, scruffy beard, and a barrel chest the size of a fridge. He lives in the apartment opposite mine with 2 other guys. Since we live across the hall, we hang out all the time, which is how I know that he's definitely not the man I am meant to be on a date with. "Christ, man," he shuffles a bit, then pulls a face at the waiter. "Ever think about buying a chair for us regular people? Not all of us are pipsqueaks like this lass." The waiter just stares at him, wide-eyed. "Zach," I say levelly. "What are you doing here?" Zach looks surprised. "We're on a date, babe. Don't you remember?" I roll my eyes. The waiter looks completely flummoxed. "I'm sorry." He trails off, looking behind him at the bathroom, then back at Zach. "Are you, I'm the same guy, yeah," Zach says. "I just got really hot and buff all of a sudden. I would never abandon my gorgeous, stunning, slightly scary date." I kick his ankle under the table. "No," the waiter says hesitantly. "I mean, are you Zach Harding?" Zach beams. He loves being recognized in public. "Aye, the very same. Like, that Zach Harding. Like, the rugby player. You were my favourite when you were playing for England." "Oh, aye." Zach turns back to me. "Now, if you don't mind, I've got a date with a lovely lady and a tiny plate of..." He examines the meal in front of him. Delicious parsnips to eat." When the waiter doesn't make a move, he waves him off cheerfully. "See you later, mate." "Oh." The man comes to his senses and turns, scurrying away. Zach settles down happily in his seat and picks up Mike's glass of wine, as if he spends every weekend crashing his neighbours' dates, and this is perfectly normal. "You know," I say slowly, "if you miss me this much, you could have just waited for me to get home. I ain't here